This is what happened yesterday. Desantis was asked about this whole issue with Trump and the approaching indictment. And of course he said, well, you know, this is politics. You know, he kind of brushed it aside. It's not that important. But then he said, which I think is brilliant, he said, and this is Desantis, he says, what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair, I can't speak to that. Now that is a jab at Trump. It's subtle, it's nicely done, it's nicely placed. You have to give DeSantis a thumbs up. Now, I wish he'd been more explicit even and gone after him even more. He did accuse Soros-funded prosecutors of weaponizing the office in the name of politics and so on. But this idea of what goes into paying hush money to a porn star to secure silence over some type of alleged affair, I can't speak to that. That's a beauty. That's a beautiful zinger, basically saying, yep, Trump, this is what happens when you have affairs with porn stars, and I wouldn't know anything about stuff like that. This did not please Trump. Trump was furious by this. Right, furious. And this is what Trump wrote. And this tells you everything you need to know about Trump's character. And this is why Trump is not qualified, never was qualified, to be president of the United States. And with all due respect, I don't care what anybody says, including people who I generally admire in other respects. This should, you know, this kind of scumbaggy mentality which Trump has, the lowest of the low, is awful. Frank, my volume is the same as it is every day. If I raise it, it'll start peaking. So I'm not going to raise it. This is what Trump answered. Ron DeSanctimonious, I mean, just that childish teenage TikTok mentality of calling people names, coming up with nicknames that you think are smart, that did him very, very well in the election in 2016, and why, again, I think he is disqualified from becoming commander-in-chief of the United States military, the president of the greatest country that's ever existed in human history. This guy is just, ugh. I mean, Ayn Rand, you can't even imagine what she would think of this, of how low and disgusting and pathetic and just horrible a human being he is, never mind becoming that good. So he says, Ron DeSanctimonious will probably find out about false accusations and fake stories, all capitalized, by the way, false accusations and fake stories, sometime in the future, as he gets older, wiser, and better known, when he's unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are, quote, underage or possibly a man. I'm sure he will want to fight these misfits just like I do. And that is posted above a photo of Ron DeSantis with some of his students, I guess, drinking, a photo that Trump has released in the past, kind of suggesting that DeSantis was partying with underage women and maybe men, you know, when he was younger and a teacher. So, I mean, here it is. I mean, this is a veiled threat. He'll probably find out about false accusation of fake stories. I wonder who will spread those. And about unfairly and illegally attacked by a woman, even classmates that are underage or possibly a man. I wonder who's going to spread those rumors. I wonder who's already spinning those false accusation fake stories. Maybe they're true. Who knows if they're fake? Who knows? Anyway, that's your Trump. That's the guy who, you know, anyway. And by the way, this is Trump responding to the potential indictment. He says there was no crime, and remember the same animals, District Attorney of New York, and thugs that would do this to perhaps 200 million people. But actually all Americans are the communists, Marxists, rhinos, and losers that are purposefully destroying our country. And our nation is now third world and dying. The American dream is dead. They're killing our nation as we sit back and watch. We must save America. Protest, protest, protest. Of course, here's a guy who's going to be indicted because of something he clearly did. The argument is not about whether he did it or not. The argument is about whether this is indictable or not. And what's he telling his followers? Go and protest. Go and protest. Go and, and America's failing and only I can save it, which is a lot of, real crap. Thank you for listening or watching the Yaron Brooks Show. If you'd like to support the show, we make it as easy as possible for you to trade with me. You get value from listening. You get value from watching. Show your appreciation. You can do that by going to yaronbrookshow.com/support, by going to Patreon, Subscribestar, Locals, and just making a appropriate contribution on any one of those channels. Also, if you'd like to see the Yaron Brooks Show grow, please consider sharing our content and, of course, subscribe. Press that little bell button right down there on YouTube so that you get an announcement when we go live. And for those of you who are already subscribers and those of you who are already supporters of the show, thank you. I very much appreciate it.